Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us for our August meeting. We will have roll call, please. Thank you. I'm here.
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 Okay, if you can all please stand with me in the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by a moment of silence. Thank you. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, we have an agenda for approval. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Motion and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
We have the approval of the minutes from the last board meeting in July. Do I have a motion?
Motion. Second.
It's been motion and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Dr. Sprout, Superintendent's report.
Thank you, President Berrigan and governing board members. Welcome to the new school year. I have multiple updates, and I tried to set them up for you in time order. So here we go. Over the summer, Vista del Sur Accelerated Academy underwent major remodeling work that's part of a multi-year plan to improve many aspects of the campus. 13 classrooms were renovated to include new ceilings, dimmable LED lighting, whiteboards, Promethean boards, tackable surfaces, millwork with sinks, paint, drywall, and flooring. Additionally, to bring it up to the same standard that we have for our other kindergarten rooms, we put in place 4 individual kindergarten restrooms and added 2 new staff restrooms. And so you get a little bit before and after there. Projects will continue. Charlie will be bringing us up to date on that next month. Levine's Helping Hands Closet opened to families on July 30th with a clear mission of ensuring that no Levine School District student goes without the essentials needed for success. As of today, the closet has served, and it's right outside here, across the hallway from us. It has served 114 students and their families and will remain open year-round. Thank you to our federal programs team led by Federal Programs Coordinator Angie Smith for conceptualizing and implementing this highly impactful program. A huge thank you also to Board Member Jen Getsky for her encouragement and community outreach support that garnered partnerships with local businesses that will benefit the closet and families of the Levine School District. One of our commitments to employees is providing every level of support possible, including when they start their careers in Levine. During the week of July 22nd, which was the week before all of our teachers reported, we held our annual new staff induction focused on our new to Levine certified instructional staff. During the week, we provided vital training on school and district systems and processes, district technology, and most importantly, training on how to use our research-based curricula. Staff were also given time on their campuses to attend site-specific trainings. So a huge thank you to our academic services team, instructional coaches, school administrators, and mentors, whether it's during the new staff induction week or beyond, for your support of our new staff. And by the way, we had some outstanding survey feedback from our new staff. Our annual all-staff welcome back celebration was held at the Grand Canyon University Arena on July 31st. The welcome back celebration is an annual event for our 1,000 plus employees and an opportunity to come together as a staff family to celebrate and to have fun. It was also an opportunity to hear about the state of our district and to be introduced to our theme this year, Levine's Got Talent. This theme underscores the fact that every employee and every student brings a unique set of strengths, talents, and skills to our community, which is what makes it truly wonderful. The highlight of the event was 7 of our staff members doing their Levine's Got Talent performances. And we thank you, Governing Board, also for your attendance and the appreciation video that you shared with the staff. Moving on to the next night, we had Meet the Teacher Night, and it was a great success with families across the district visiting their children's schools and classrooms for the new school year. Now we go to the next week, week 1. The 24-25 school year, as you know, is off to a very strong start. I would like to thank all of our staff for their hard work and preparation for the first day of school, the first week of school, and beyond. And especially thank you to our admin teams out here that oversee all of that. Thanks also to our parents for their support of a smooth start to the school year. As of today, we had 7,909 students in our preschool through 8th grade classrooms, averaging 2% above last year's numbers during these first 9 days of school. It's great to be a growing district. Also implemented on our first day of school, the Levine School District has been selected to participate in the USDA Community Eligibility Provision. What does that mean? Well, it allows our school district to provide meals at no cost to all students. That is free breakfast and lunch for every school or student in the district. The program may also be extended to subsequent years. While the program is in place, families will not have to apply for free or reduced price meals. However, all Levine families will be asked to complete, you know this, a simplified alternate income form to support the district in receiving key federal funds. A huge thank you, she's out there somewhere, to our child nutrition director, there she is, Jennifer Gordon and her team for their leadership in this effort. Our transportation department has launched a new student tracking app, BusQuest, that allows parents to see when their child scans on and off their bus and when their child's bus enters their neighborhood. This secure system is tied to the parent-guardian contacts in our student database. Again, thank you to our Director of Transportation, Eric Kissel, and right back there, if you can't see him, his team, and all. This is not just a transportation team. You know, all of our student data is part of this, and so there's a lot of folks that are working to make sure that this is successful and that we continue to find ways to even more safely transport our students. On this Monday, we launched a partnership with Betty H. Fairfax High School to promote an in-person 0-hour geometry class for Levine students. We currently have 14 8th graders attending, and parents and students have shared their excitement with how the class is going so far, including one parent that might be up here. Linda's son is in this class. This is a wonderful opportunity for our students who are ready for high school level curriculum and who prefer in-person instruction rather than the digital format that is also offered. So right now PXU has offered an online basic option, but we're really excited. Thank you to everyone on our team and who has helped to make this a reality. Give these students a taste of high school. And now, please join me in congratulating Governing Board President Jill Berrigan, who was named a 2024 ASBO International Distinguished Eagle Award recipient for her work in establishing the Women's Executive Leadership Development Program within the Arizona Association of School Business Officials. The Women's Executive Leadership Development Program will help address the underrepresentation of women in school district leadership by empowering women with the skills, knowledge, and self-efficacy and networks to thrive in executive positions. And 4 members of our Levine Elementary School District team are in this, getting your DNA, you know, and everyone that's impacting them. Natalie Carrillo-Cortez, Julie Carson, Nancy Ramirez, and Elsa Perez are all participating in the newly established program this year. A round of applause for our and that concludes our superintendent's report.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Sprout. Way to surprise me. Okay, I think next we're going to move into the safety and security presentation. Do you want to introduce that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Once Kristen stands up now, I can talk, and she's going to really like this. So, board, after this presentation, we will move to the approval of the personnel report, where we will recommend personnel changes to our administrative team and ask the governing board to approve our Chief Communications Officer, Kristen Landry's request to resign. Before she starts, though, and she's also going to be joined by our Safety and Communications Coordinator, Mike Gowell, and our Director of Technology, Eddie Lopez. Please join me in recognizing Kristen for her leadership in communications and safety over the past 11 years. Do you want to sit down now, or do you? She has overseen, to name a few, the implementation of our website, Parent Square, Mission Kindergarten, district logos, promotional materials and videos, the Spring Art Walk, and all aspects of our district's safety and security plan. In this community, she has served as the district's representative on the Levine Community Council. She has received multiple awards from the Arizona School Public Relations Association and the district's Pinnacle of Leadership Award. Kristen has been invaluable to the two Levine superintendents that she has worked with. I know Bill echoes those words. And she has helped us to strategically handle the most difficult matters that inevitably arise. And so Kristen is always in the room when it gets serious. And when little things like pandemics occur. And I don't mean to minimize that, but when outside forces such as pandemics occur, Kristen was always in the room. And we know that those things come our way. So I know you join me in wishing Kristen all the best in her future endeavors and the highest level of gratitude for her work. Thank you, Kristen. And now we'll turn it over to Kristen for, we have an overview for the board on safety, security, as well as cybersecurity.
Okay, thank you very much for that. Good evening, President Berrigan, members of the board. Tonight we are going to discuss our school safety plans. Just a reminder that there are many specifics in our operations plan that is not public and is considered to be critical infrastructure and protected under state statute. So if you have any in-depth questions, we can handle those in executive session. So tonight's presentation is structured around these main points. First, we take an all hazards approach to emergency planning. Our procedures are based on data and training by expert partners. We will briefly discuss our lockdown procedures. We will provide an overview of some best practices and safety implementations and a preview on what's to come. We have some tips for our parents, and we will review our cybersecurity measures. So we take a variety of hazards into consideration when planning. Responses to power outages, weather, facility emergencies, gas leaks, and street closures are studied, evaluated, and practiced. These skills can often be transferred across emergency situations. A lot of tonight's presentation is going to focus on intruders and acts of violence, but it's important to remember that preparedness can transfer across a variety of situations. Much of our plan is built on what we've learned through our partnerships with these safety experts. And the first is Jesus Villahermosa. He is a well-known crisis expert who studies mass violence events. He has assembled data on the patterns that surface in each of these events and actions that schools can take to protect staff and students. ASA and the Trust have hosted trainings for administrators with him, and we actually brought him out in 2019 for all administrators so we could take his 8-hour course, and we brought him out again in 2022 for some parent sessions. Next is the Homeland Defense Bureau with the Phoenix Police Department. In summer of 2017 and then again in 22, Phoenix's Homeland Defense Bureau sent a team of school resource officers to conduct site vulnerability assessments on all of our schools. There were two components to their visits. The first was to collect a wide range of data for input into the ACTIC, which is Arizona's Counterterrorism Information Center. And that data included information on the areas surrounding the school as well as the physical makeup of the school, such as fencing, utility lines, and points of access. The second was to identify areas that could improve police response to an emergency situation. Assessments are recommended every 5 years, so we just had a full assessment done in '22. And then the third is Phoenix Police's Tactical Training Department. So they used our facilities for their internal training. They trained every officer using our schools. They used Levine and Vista del Sur. This started out as a facility rental, but it ended up being very, very valuable to us. They took place in the summer of 2019. They did not occur during school hours. A lot of the images you're going to see in this presentation is from that training, so no real weapons were used in those trainings. But dozens of officers received training in our schools, making them very familiar with our floor plans and obstacles they may face when responding to a school situation. Administrators were invited to participate in the training and follow one of the teams through. This gave us a great idea as to what first responders face as they respond to emergency calls from schools and navigate through an unfamiliar school campus. Front office teams were also able to participate. They initiated the emergency call and had to provide dispatch with detailed information about what they were hearing and seeing as the scenario played out. And Phoenix Fire was also involved, providing insight on how they respond to incidents and treat victims. And as a result of participating in this training, we've made several changes to further improve emergency response in our schools. So for lockdowns, there are a number of reasons for us to lock down a school. It could be something that's already going on campus, or most commonly it's happening in our neighborhoods near our schools. So how we respond depends on the threat. If it's on campus, we refer to that as a hard lockdown, where everything stops. Students and staff secure themselves in a safe area and remain quiet while the threat is identified. Again, if it's off campus, we lock everything down as we would in a hard lockdown, except we'll relax that once we're sure the threat is off campus. Our schools practice both of these regularly. Everyone is expected to do a drill quarterly. I've been attending each drill. Michael's going to be taking that over. And I help the school debrief after every drill, and that's where any areas of weakness are addressed. This is a snapshot of our scorecard that we use during drills. It just helps us keep track of any repairs or additional trainings that might be necessary. So back to some of our expert partners. Homeland's Site Vulnerability Assessment found several low and no-cost items that were recommended at each of our sites, and so we've implemented these. The first is an authority to arrest form. This is a document that's filed annually with Phoenix Police, and it allows officers that are on patrol to make an arrest on our campus without needing our permission. So if somebody sees a suspect jumping the fence at 2 o'clock in the morning, of course there's nobody at school, they're able to just make that arrest. This coincides with appropriate trespassing and closed campus signage, which is a requirement for the authority to arrest filing. Visitor badges. All visitor badges must formally check into the front offices. Visitors must provide their legal ID in exchange for a visitor's badge, which they need to wear throughout the visit. Once they check out, their ID is returned to them. So this forces the visitor to come through the office when they leave. They have to check out through the office and get their legal ID back. This is just an image of what some of our schools are doing. This system allows them to quickly see who is on campus at any given time. Some more things that we've implemented is the First Responder Go Kit. In the event of an emergency, these folders contain everything a first responder may immediately need, including floor plans and aerials. These are located in each school's front office. We also added shatterproof mirrored tint on areas that have large glass, and we added bulletproof glass in all of our reception areas. We've enhanced visuals. We've added fisheye peepholes to exterior doors to provide better visibility. These are most common in the kitchen doors that look out into the loading area. Also, bubble mirrors are recommended in the site vulnerability assessments. These provide coverage in blind spots, so you can see how they were needed by officers during their training, and these were installed shortly after that training took place. With the tactical training exercise, we had police officers responding to a school with very little background information. And one of the things they asked for is ways to improve their response time and help in their navigation. So we added lock boxes that are only for Phoenix Police. How you enter those is kept in the Phoenix Police dispatch system. So any officer that's arriving to our site, they just have to radio dispatch, and radio will let them know how to get in. We've also added exterior signage on opposing building corners so that regardless of what point of entry officers come in, they can easily identify the building. Same with the exterior window signage. If they're looking for a particular room, we have signage in all of our exterior windows identifying what room that is. We also found out how important the Go Kit is that we implemented, because as police officers arrive to an emergency, they need maps immediately, and we were told they'll typically tear the first one they see off the wall. So we make those available to them. And then also Phoenix Fire has the ability to upload floor plans for each of our sites into their computer system. So we sent maps to them. That's helpful as they respond to a situation on a campus. If there's a broken leg on a playground or an asthma attack in the health office, they know exactly where they need to go on that campus. We created expanded Go Kits for our front office teams. These include a laptop that provides access to camera footage, electronic emergency documents, and access to Google products, as well as Parent Square. It also has maps, student accounting sheets, service numbers, safety vests, and other emergency response tools. Most recently, we upgraded cameras across the district. We changed out some locking mechanisms in some areas, and we installed entry gates in our back loading docks. We also installed a new automated lockdown alarm and announcement system at EFGA as a pilot system, and that includes digital displays of lockdown or other instructions, and a pre-recorded announcement that loops. For staff training, staff is trained annually, so we have a staff safety manual that goes out through HR that all staff needs to read and acknowledge that they've read. And then I've been doing in-person training at all schools, so I'll go out before school starts and visit all the sites and train everybody there, and then I host another training here for anybody who couldn't make that. And then we do tabletop exercises throughout the year just to practice more of what we learn. For staff that isn't super familiar with what we do, we installed these small lockdown posters in each of our classrooms in any room that's used on a campus. This is very helpful for substitute teachers. It's just a quick look at everything that you need to do in a lockdown so that they're not overwhelmed with the tasks. And then when a substitute comes and checks in, they're given instructions on handling a lockdown. That poster is also on a keychain size, as well as the instructions for their key. So while not every key will lock a door, but not every key will open a door. And so along with that keychain, they can see what that key is used for, what it opens and what it locks. February of 2023, I attended an amazing training by the I Love You Guys Foundation, and they are known for the development and training of safety and reunification programs. So we modeled our reunification plan after their standard reunification method. Following this training, administrators were trained on the method and best practices for accounting and release of students. Each school reviewed their plans and maps to designate the various staging areas. Reunification instructions and forms have been professionally printed, so they're perforated, so we're all ready to go in the event that we need to evacuate and reunite students with their families. We also started building the Rock Box, which is the reunification operation kit, and that has a variety of tools that you might need for a reunification event. So with that, I will turn it over to our new safety coordinator, Michael Gall.
Good evening. As Kristen said, my name's Mike Gowell, and it's a pleasure to be with you tonight officially as the district safety coordinator. I've spent the better half of the last 2 decades in public safety, both as a first responder and emergency management professional, and I'm excited to dedicate my full efforts to carrying on the amazing work Ms. Landry's completed over her tenure here and collaborating with everybody within the district to make sure that Levine is as safe as possible. I'd like to start by going over some general safety improvements that we're implementing in the 2024-2025 school year and beyond this school year. Over the summer, we increased our key control procedures by conducting an inventory of all keys. All keys were retrieved and redistributed based on careful analysis of who should have access to what parts of our campus based on their roles and responsibility. This is all in efforts to increase security of our closed campuses. We also completed the installation of key card readers on select exterior doors, again, to make sure that access is limited and given to appropriate parties. Going forward, we'll be implementing facility safety and security measures as outlined in the exterior building standards that were reviewed previously. Some of the most notable mentions from that document include non-scalable perimeter fencing for all campuses, strategically placed bulletproof and shatterproof glass, again, as Ms. Landry mentioned, making sure that our entrances to all campuses have the bulletproof glass, and strategic placement of the shatterproof film on large areas of glass. Additionally, we're planning on making exterior lighting upgrades and making sure that campus signage is as up to date as possible to aid first responders in responding to our campuses. As a demonstration of how safety overlaps every department within the district, some of the notable things that have been implemented recently by our Support Services Division is the implementation of the Facility Help Desk platform, FMX. This new platform allows all staff to create work orders as they see them, and really allowing for more timely repairs. So in the event that a staff member notices a classroom door handle is broken or an exterior gate latch is faulty or not latching completely, they're able to submit that work order, allowing it to be repaired as quickly as possible. And as already mentioned, the Transportation Division has implemented the new software app BusQuest, allowing parents and district staff to have real-time transportation information on all the Bean buses and students on those buses. This past year, school administrators, counselors, and select district administrators participated in a full day of CSTAG training, which stands for Comprehensive School Threat Assessment Guideline. This is a renowned assessment model developed by Dr. Dewey Cornell in 2001. It focuses on multidisciplinary team approaches using a decision tree process to discern and respond to threats of violence within schools. CSTAG became nationally recognized as an evidence-based threat assessment program in 2013 and has demonstrated effectiveness through control studies. We believe that the implementation of CSTAG can help identify, mitigate, and respond to threats of violence in an effective, standardized method for the district. One of the responsibilities of my role is ensuring that the emergency operations plan that has been drafted for our district is maintained and upgraded as necessary. Our objective is to maintain an all-encompassing optimal emergency operations plan that's in accordance with our district policies and state statutes. How we accomplish this is by continually reviewing and updating information and processes, collaborating with other districts and regional emergency management and preparedness organizations, adhering to that all hazards approach while ensuring compliance with all relevant statutes and regulations. Our EOP is really meant to be a comprehensive document that really includes and considers all students, staff, and visitor populations, including our special populations such as access and functional need population. We are making sure that this document is being reviewed and collaborated on by multiple entities exterior to the district. Most notably, some of the collaborations and entities that we're currently working with are the Phoenix Police Department, Phoenix Fire Department, the School Safety Consortium, the Maricopa County Department of Emergency Management, the County Sheriff's Office, and the Trust Emergency Management Team. Moving forward, one of the big initiatives for our district is elevating our exercise standards. Implementing and incorporating HSEEP standards and compliance, which is the Homeland Security Exercise and Evaluation Program, is how all exercises moving forward will be measured. Essentially, HSEEP is a set of guiding principles set forth by Homeland Security that provides exercise and evaluation programs and a common approach to program management, design, development, conduct, evaluation, and improvement planning. This multi-tiered approach is all in efforts to get to a full-scale exercise. The bottom of the tier begins with tabletop discussion-based exercises, which are already being completed on a monthly basis with our administrative team. Most notably, some of the most recent tabletop exercises have included power outage scenarios, ceiling collapses, chlorine gas leaks, and bomb threats. Next is functional exercises, which we moved into our operations-based exercises. These are lifelike scenarios without the implementation of full resources. This takes a multidisciplinary approach. These are site-specific, targeted, and again, brings in all the relevant stakeholders to the applicable scenario. Examples of this could be incident command system implementation and unified command coordination. Again, ultimately, this all is building towards a full-scale exercise, and that's when you have as real and as lifelike as possible of a scenario with all relevant stakeholders for that emergency scenario, including volunteers. And within this 2024-2025 school year, our goal is to have a full-scale reunification exercise with one of our schools. We're fortunate here at Levine to have 6 school resource officers and 2 school counselors, in addition to 3 schools receiving school safety officers. The school safety program was established in 1994. It is a state-funded grant in which the goal is to ensure that all campuses that participate in this program are as safe as possible and have a sworn police officer on campus to be able to facilitate the safety initiatives set forth and to ensure that the perception and interaction of law enforcement is a positive image for our students. Again, here at Levine, we have 6 school dedicated resource officers and 3 schools that receive school safety officers, which are off-duty sworn police officers. Part of the big initiative for the school safety program this year is making sure that we're streamlining processes and procedures. Oversight of the school safety program grant and operational procedures will fall to my position, and the initiative we're going to be implementing is making sure that we have strong communication and collaboration with all relevant stakeholders, site administration, and Phoenix Police Department. That includes working with one of our school safety officers who functions in a coordinator position and handles a lot of the logistics for the school safety officers that visit our 3 campuses. We really want to make sure that we're compliant in improving our records keeping to ensure future funding and hopefully expand future funding to make sure that the resources continue to benefit our campuses. One of the requirements of the school safety program grant was 180 hours of law-related education set forth by the school resource officers. This requirement has been removed from the grant. However, after speaking with district administration, site administration, and our school resource officer team, they do feel it is important to keep it in our schools. So we've agreed on a minimum of 80 hours of law-related education to be conducted within each school. And with that, thank you for your time, and I'll turn it back over to Ms. Landry.
Thank you, Michael. So tips for parents. For our crisis plan to be effective, we depend on parents to support our crisis response efforts. So there's a number of procedures we ask all of our parents to follow for the safety of all of our students and staff. This information is located on our website under the Parents tab, and it's called School Safety. Most importantly, if you see something, say something. So we've found that individuals wanting to inflict harm on a school often tell someone of their plans or post their intentions to social media. It's important that if you or your child become aware of a potential threat, that it's reported to law enforcement or the school immediately. This should be reported via a direct phone call. Please do not email, private message, or tag the school or police in regards to a potential threat, as this can easily go unnoticed. And anytime something happens in our schools, or if we need to remind people about the importance of seeing something and reporting it, we include in that. Please do make a direct phone call to either at the school during school hours or law enforcement if it's outside of school hours. Talk to your children and emphasize how important it is for them to follow instructions by school staff and first responders. During a lockdown, students should quickly move to the nearest safe area. So for our little kids, that may not necessarily be their classroom. We need to remind them to go to the nearest place, the nearest safe area, stay out of view and remain silent, including cell phones, and do not open the door for anyone. The last thing you want to do is to give away your child's location if they are hiding from an intruder. So if your child is hiding and their phone rings or buzzes or lights up, that they may have their location revealed. Please remind your child to completely silence their phone and not use it during an emergency situation. Students will be given an opportunity to text or call parents when it is safe to do so. And as a reminder, we can use Parent Square to send out those immediate alerts. We have those messages preloaded so we can communicate with parents during the course of an incident. Do not call the school. In a lockdown, the front office staff moves into a secure area, and so they are unable to answer phones. Their focus is communicating with first responders, and our phone system needs to be available for this. In any lockdown situation, we communicate with families over the course of the incident. Sometimes the situation can be resolved very quickly, so it's very possible that we may have gone into lockdown and come out of lockdown before that notification goes out. But that would be in one of those very, very quick situations. Additionally, we will have an emergency alert ticker that's added to the webpage. We are working on our new website now, and so that new website actually allows the ticker to be placed on the district webpage as well as that school webpage. And do not come to the school. Once the school is in lockdown, they are unable to open the doors for anyone, including parents. Persons gathering outside a school put themselves at risk and can delay the emergency response, while police work to apprehend a suspect. Driving to a school during a lockdown can create a traffic jam, as you can see in this photo, preventing first responders from reaching the school in a timely manner. Entering a school can create confusion in identifying the intruder, and in a true emergency, students will be relocated at an alternate site for parent reunification. So with that, I will turn it over to Eddie Lopez, our Director of Technology.
All right, well, good evening. I'm grateful for the opportunity to share a little bit about our cybersecurity posture. For those of you that don't know me, I've actually worked for the district for about 20 years, and so some of you probably remember me from when I was a computer tech when I first started. So, over the next few slides, I'll share information on risk management regarding cybersecurity, planning in response to those risks, resources we utilize, and finally, what we call the human firewall. Like most safety programs, it begins with risk management. It's important to identify your risks, or in the case of cybersecurity, your threats. To do this, we research and work with partners to identify the most common cybersecurity threats. And as you can see from this little word cloud, there are a lot of threats out there, and they tend to come at us just as crazy as that picture looks. We analyze these threats and determine what is needed to mitigate them. Most people are familiar with firewalls, web filters, antivirus programs. These have been the cybersecurity staple for many years. We're constantly monitoring and reviewing these systems that we have in place. This means that these systems will continue to evolve over time. As we renew services and hardware, we often add new capabilities to these systems. Our firewall and web filter have new abilities to actively scan for, report, and mitigate threats. Traditional antivirus software has been replaced with endpoint detection and response software, which helps us detect zero-day threats and ransomware. It allows us to lock down our systems and provide real-time visibility to these threats. We can take action against them or even disable compromised systems remotely. We utilize a 3-2-1 process to ensure quality backups. We have implemented multi-factor authentication to protect our systems. External vulnerability scans are performed by a third-party vendor to alert us of possible attack vectors. When it comes to safety, having these systems in place isn't the end of the story. While we hope for the best, it's necessary to plan for the worst. One of the first documents we refer to is our cybersecurity incident workflow. This is a very simple document that helps us remain organized. Its purpose is to help us determine if an actual cyber attack is occurring and ensure we don't miss any steps. Many of these steps laid out here are the exact same steps that we would follow if we were solving a hardware failure, software bug, or other technology-related issues that arise on a day-to-day basis. An example of this is a recent incident on a Friday during summer break. Most people were off for the day. Butch, our network supervisor, who's also here tonight, was planning an equipment upgrade. However, upon arriving, he discovered many of our servers were offline and would not boot. He immediately contacted me and sent screenshots of what he was seeing. At this point, we didn't know what it was, but it had all the hallmarks of a cybersecurity incident. I immediately headed in, knowing that Butch would be researching the problem. By the time I arrived, he had already worked his way through several of the first steps of the workflow and had discovered that a vendor had pushed an update that caused Windows-based systems to crash. One of our other vendors had forwarded a solution, and we began implementing it. As stressful as this day had started, it was good to know that this was not a cyber attack, just a bad software update. We continued to work through the workflow, and I began sending out information to our district administrators via email. I forwarded technical information on the fix to our tech team and sent information to all staff on what to do if their PCs were affected on Monday. Dr. Sprout used this information to inform the governing board later that day. If this had been an actual cybersecurity incident, we would have taken out this document, Levine's Cyber Incident Response Plan. As the name suggests, this document is a guide on how to respond to an actual cyber incident. The response includes dealing with an incident, contacting key people and entities. It guides us in collecting the information that needs to be documented as we go through each step. It is important to remember that in the event of an actual cyber attack, it will take weeks or even months before you reach the end of this incident. This data must be preserved starting from day one. The recovery process looks different for each event, but the hardware and software tools we have covered will be utilized to their full extent. We will reach out to third-party resources as necessary to contain and eradicate attack vectors until services are secured and restored. This document guides us through the reporting phase as well. Information must be shared with law enforcement, insurance companies, our governing board, legal entities, general staff, and the media. Finally, this document allows us to debrief, reflect, and learn from an incident so that it will not occur again. When it comes to planning, we utilize federal, state, and local resources that are available to us. Some of these resources include the FBI's Internet Crime Complaint Center, known as IC3. In the event of a cyber incident, a report will be filed here as soon as possible. There are also historical statistics and useful information on emerging threats. CISA, the Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency, offers tools and resources to help secure our digital infrastructure. They also provide alerts and advisories. NIST, the National Institute of Standards and Technology, developed a cybersecurity framework that has evolved over the last 10 years. Earlier this year, they just released version 2.0 of this framework. We partner with the Arizona Department of Homeland Security to provide cybersecurity tools to the district using federal funding. This allows us to stretch our dollars and have additional resources available to us that would normally not be available. One such is the Arizona Security and Operations Center, which helps us monitor our endpoint detection and response system and provides our multi-factor authentication software. Next on this list is our insurance company known as the Trust. The Trust does more than just provide insurance. They partner with cyberpools.org to provide tools and resources to their clients. Many of these are at no additional cost. They host webinars and meetings to share information on cybersecurity. Just a few months ago, we participated in a tabletop exercise to run through our cyber incident response plan, and there's actually another one coming up soon. The Trust would be one of our primary contacts in the event of a cyber incident. There are too many vendors to list here, but we have support contracts with vendors that provide products and services to secure our systems. And each year we create open purchase orders with key vendors who can provide technical expertise in case problems arise. When reviewing threats as part of our risk management, many security organizations list the greatest cybersecurity threat as the employees of an organization. This is typically related to phishing, ransomware, and social engineering scams. While it may be true, here in Levine, our staff is often part of the first line of defense. The scams I listed earlier here are difficult to detect, especially when these spammers and scammers are using legitimate-looking emails to try and convince people to do their bidding. The best way to mitigate these threats is through training and education. Each year, our staff is required by HR to view a cyber awareness training video. We cover the most common things to look for and what to do when you notice them. We encourage our staff to report the unusual emails and behaviors. This allows us to leverage some of our tools to intercept and block these threats in real time. With this training, our staff acts as a human firewall, and they are an integral part of our safety and security. Thank you.
I think that's the conclusion of a very thorough presentation. I appreciate, Eddie, I know we have the multi-factor authentication now, and that's kind of the gold standard as it currently matters for preventing any technology types of disasters. But I know that changes, and who knows what it'll be in 5 years. But I know that our teams are on top of that, and that's incredibly important. There was a county here in Arizona that was victim of a cybersecurity attack, and it messed up the payroll for a lot of small school districts, and that happened just this past year. And we don't want anything like that to happen to our data. So I appreciate your efforts and your team's efforts. Kristen and Michael, excellent information. I don't know that I've heard another school district provide that thorough of a presentation on the safety and security measures in their district without obviously giving away important information that we need to hold secure. None of us want anything like that to happen, but I feel much better knowing that the students in Levine have been thought of very deeply, I think, in what you all have worked on and put together over the years. So thank you. Anything else from any board members, questions or comments? Yes, Jennifer.
I just want to say thanks to Kristen for your service to Levine. I know on your way out it's bittersweet, but also to the whole team that's put this together, because safety is my number one concern for every student and every teacher and every staff member and parent and community member. It breaks my heart that we have to put plans like this together, and when my daughter comes home from school and says we had a lockdown drill, it raises my own anxiety, but knowing that you guys are prepared and for the worst case scenario, I hope we never have to deploy that, but it makes me feel certainly a lot more comfortable sending my child to school every day for many hours, knowing that if something were to happen, we're ready. So hopefully that doesn't happen.
Thank you. Anyone else? Yes.
Kind of the same thing of just the most important thing that anybody in this room does is keep the children safe in our schools, and so I really appreciate how in-depth this was. I know Dr. Sprout had gotten a list from me. I've read a couple books about school safety and things that have been learned from other shootings and other incidences, and this is just like checking everything off of the list that I've read about as well on what we can do, so I really appreciate that. Same, like we said, I have kiddos in these schools too. I did have a couple questions. You talked about facility improvements. I think maybe we're talking about it more next month, but do we have any timeline on doing any things that have been identified? Because I think, as we all know, since safety is so important, if we see a area for improvement, that to have as fast of a time frame as possible.
I think we should probably address timelines in executive session.
Okay. And I went to the training that Jesus came out and did, which was awesome, and one of the things he talked about with the drills, you said we're doing them quarterly, and he talked about doing them at different times of day, in passing periods, at lunch, things like that. And do we have those scheduled or required a certain number in that type of thing?
We do. Thank you, Ms. Abig, for that. Yes, so four drills each year per site. They are surprise drills, and they can occur at any time. And so going right along with what Jesus said, when people are out, when they're transitioning between schedules, that is a prime time to be doing drills. And so that's what we are doing. Like I said, I've been at every drill. We've been doing them at lunchtime. We've been doing them as classes transition. We've been doing them shortly after the bell rings, at the end of the day. So they do occur at all different times of the day. And doing it during lunch or when kids are out, that really gives you, that's when you can test it, because that's when you know, is your audio working? Do the supervisory associates know what to do? Is everybody doing what they need to do? So that really is the best time for us to be testing it.
And then one other, that training when he came out was awesome for parents. And as I look at the list that you have on the website of things for parents to be doing. I think it's safe to say that I'm a pretty involved parent, and it was still a good reminder for me of the things to do and not do in that situation. And I wonder if we have plans for some regular ways to remind parents, whether that's at a special parent meeting or the superintendent meetings, or parent-teacher conferences. Here's a little reminder or something to make sure that our parents are getting. It seems like we're doing a great job reminding staff consistently and making sure parents have that too.
We do regularly remind parents, so it might be in our district newsletter. If there's if we're communicating about a safety issue or a question that comes up at one of our schools, we also tend to include that information in there as well. It is always on our website. Depending on what's happening, we may remind people via that ticker that we'll put on our website, or also on social media. So as far as an in-person training, we were exploring. I was talking to some other districts about how we could bring Jesus back and kind of split the travel costs, because he lives in Washington, but that didn't come into fruition last year. So no plans to bring him back at this time.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Appreciate all of your work on this and over all the years, and you will definitely be missed. We appreciate all of it.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Okay, thank
Thank
you. Next is the consent agenda. Do I have a motion?
Motion?
Second.
Been motioned and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. And Dr. Sprout, do you have some administrative
Yes.
recognitions? Yeah.
Thank you, President Berrigan. Board, we have some moves on our administrative team that were precipitated by Ms. Landry's move. And so, as you know, we love moving people forward and into jobs that they have prepared for or fall under their strengths and talents. And so you just approved the following administrative changes. I would like to say congratulations to Dr. Robert Kaplinger, who will be our new Chief Communications Officer. Robert has been principal at Levine Elementary School for the last 9 years and has done tremendous work there. And so congratulations, Robert. And our next promotion is an individual who has spent 13 years in the classroom prior to coming here to Levine, 12 years in our district. She's made the journey from instructional coach to assistant principal. She was a dean of our Levine Online Academy. And I'm very proud to announce that Melissa Garcia will be our new principal at Levine Elementary School. So congratulations. And she comes with family in tow. So family, if you want to just raise your hand, it's great to see you. Proud parents, son and husband, so congratulations. And then we have joining our administrative team, a person who's worked her way through the teaching ranks and will replace Melissa as the assistant principal at MC Cash School. She's currently an instructional coach at MC Cash, and that is Rayanne Morgan. We've made 3 very key hires from outside of our district. Juliet Starkey is our community engagement coordinator, Mike Gowell on safety, who you heard from tonight. We had a very specialized position that we had in our administrative staffing, and that's our data architect coordinator. You talk about a particular set of skills. Malathi has those, and so we would like to welcome Malathi Muthukrishnan, who will be joining our team. That's it. Thank
Okay,
you.
thank you, Dr. Sprout. Normally we take a break, but since there's only a few children in here, I would just say, or maybe even just one wonderful child.
Sorry.
If you're adults, you're not required to stay for the rest of the meeting. If you just quietly exit out there, and then we'll finish with our business portion and continue on with that. But if you're not required to stay, you may leave now. Thank you. Okay, we are moving on to the first reading of the proposed policy revisions. And we can choose to waive the first reading and adopt the proposed revisions, or we can do a first reading. Do I have a motion either way?
Motion to waive. Second.
It's been motioned and seconded to adopt the policy revisions and waive the second reading. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. We have the land purchase agreement for school number 11. Do I have a motion?
Motion. Second.
Been motioned and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor? Yay! All those in favor?
Aye.
Hard to believe. Okay, the SFOB capital plan submittal, that's the School Facilities Board capital plan submittal. Do I have a motion?
Second.
Motion and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Rogers Ranch STEM Academy, New York City and Boston STEM 8th grade field trip. They don't know, but I'm going to be a chaperone. Boston is one of my favorite cities. I'm jealous. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Okay, motion and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Then we have the 2025 ASBA proposed political agenda. We had talked about this at a prior board meeting. They have taken the input from all of the districts and put together really the redlined version of last year's political agenda. So in black is last year's political agenda. Any new items are in red and bold, and any eliminated items are red and struck through. And if there are no changes to that, then we can entertain a motion to accept that as presented in the packet we received. Or if there are revisions, let's discuss. Motion to approve as is in the packet, okay. I'll second that motion. All those, excuse me, any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye. That motion carries. And for the 2025 ASBA Delegate Assembly Member Selection, I nominate Mrs. Abeg. Okay, do we have a second?
Second.
Second, okay. And do we have anybody who wants to volunteer to be the, well, let's vote on that first. It's been motioned and seconded for Mrs. Abeg to be the delegate. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
And then do we have anybody who wants to volunteer to be an alternative to that? Ms. Getsky, it's a wonderful opportunity.
I do see that there's a virtual option
I
this
know.
year.
I might be open to a virtual option.
Okay, so,
That days. This is that day, but I could be open to a virtual. I know Jeff knows what it is, but.
okay. So no?
She has a personal.
Okay, we're not gonna do that to you then. Jeff's saying we should not do that. Anybody else want to be an alternate?
I mean, I'm gonna be there, and there's a virtual option, so you really don't have to worry too much about being an alternate.
I nominate Michelle Anderson to be the alternate. Can I get a second, quickly?
Second.
Okay, thank you. Been motioned and seconded for Michelle Anderson to be the alternate. All those in favor? Aye. I think you'll be okay. I think she's pretty reliable.
I'm not worried.
All right. Comments from the board? We'll start with you, Ms. Getsky.
No, I'm so excited for the start of another school year. Things have been great so far. I've talked to a couple of staff already who are going well the first couple weeks. If we can get the weather to cool down a little bit, I'm sure
Maybe.
dismissal will be a little easier for everybody. But thank you. Looking forward to it again, Kristen. Thank you for all your service. I know that I haven't known you very long, but you've been very welcoming to me. I appreciate it. So it's been nice to
Ms. Begg?
Congrats on a great first 2 weeks, and I know a lot of families, it's kids going back to their school year home, and it's such just a vital part of their childhood and a part of our families, and so I just appreciate everyone being part of the family, and we're lucky to be a part of the Levine family.
Dr. Watkins?
Just looking forward to visiting the campuses. My favorite thing to do each year, to visit the campuses and see what's going on, see if you guys need any assistance from the board.
Thank you. Mrs. Anderson?
Let's see. Just welcome back. It's exciting to be back and just a great kickoff. So thank you for everybody who put that together and just all of the great talent. I'm looking forward to seeing what other talent is happening in Levine this year, and so that'll be exciting to see. And then just congratulations, Kristen, for your new adventure. We'll miss you, but best wishes to you.
Thank you. Yes, the kickoff this year was incredible. The venue was incredible, even more so because it was free. Free is my favorite number. So appreciate whoever made that connection to make that happen. I have challenged Dr. Sprout to put together a staff, we talked about it, it'll sound familiar in a minute, to put together some sort of staff presentation each year, singing, music, I mean, I want to see our incredible staff, and this meeting would be an ideal meeting for that in future years because we usually don't have students at this meeting. So I would love to see our incredible staff and the talent that they possess. So Dr. Sprout has that on his very long to-do list. I try not to add to it. Oh, Dr. K, you just you got delegated. Do you sing? Okay, fantastic.
Other duties
As assigned, yes, okay. And then in light of the Women's Executive Leadership Development Series that's being recognized through that award, and I'm so glad that people here in Levine were able to take advantage of that, and I think some of you are doing the continuation into this next year, which is wonderful too. I'm gonna focus a couple of positive things on some women here in the district, starting with Ms. Getsky. I appreciate you doing that work with the partners in our district and vendors in our district to be able to support our students. Jennifer, thank you for getting together the CEP program. That takes a lot of work, but to know that the students at Levine are taken care of for breakfast and lunch every day is really a great feeling, and you should be very proud of the work that you and your team did to make that happen. And then our last female, Kristen. I don't think the city of Scottsdale will be as nice as we are, but good luck. I think that they're getting an absolute gem, and we're gonna miss you here, and we hope you stay in touch, okay? Thank you. Okay, with that, our next meeting will be on September 12th, right here. And we need to, I think we had a question to address in executive session, so we need to motion to executive session. So do I have a motion?
Motion. Second.
Motion and seconded. All those in favor? Aye. And good night to the rest of you. adjourn?
Motion.
Second.
Motion is seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.